Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joshua here at saltyscales.com. Today is How To Thursday. So last week I told you, if you didn't see, I'm implementing a new series. So Tackle Tuesday is what it's going to be, How To Thursdays, and Sunday Fun Day, or Fishing Fun Day. So we're going to do that. I'm also implementing in the next few videos, just to see how it goes, I'm putting some random thing, something that's off, something that's maybe not supposed to be where it is, and I'm putting it in the film. Now it could be at the beginning, could be at the end. If you find it, then you could potentially win a small prize, maybe a lure, pack a lure, something like that. So it'll be in this video. I hope you're paying attention. Today's topic for how to is how to skip a bait caster. A lot of you guys oftentimes have asked me, with all the other bait caster tutorials that I've done, is how to properly skip a lure. And guys, it's pretty fundamental, but there is a science to it. Let me talk a little bit on that science aspect, and we'll get into the fun stuff, which is the skipping. Let's go. All right, so first things first, before we get into lure skipping, what did we do as a kid? We walked the riverbank, walked the ocean, found a flat stone, and we skipped it. Well, that's going to be the first topic of discussion today, is actually just the skipping of a stone, because it's relevant in this particular matter. And one thing that I want to tell you about is a little bit of the science that goes behind it. When a stone is thrown properly, the tailing edge hits first, and then it's flipped forward to its leading edge. So the leading edge then goes airborne, and then it repeats itself. And then usually it's stopped by the density of the water or some type of wake. But the most successful skips have a great trajectory, which consists of a 75-degree angle. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of the skip. The trajectory is crucial. Now, here's a little fun fact for you guys. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Jerdone Coleman McGee is his name. He holds the world record for the furthest stone skipping, which is 38 skips in one throw. And that was filmed down at the Blanco River in Texas in 1992. That's pretty impressive. I don't think I've ever done anything like that. Maybe 8 or 10 is the furthest I've ever gotten. But the factors and conditions for skipping depend on a few things. First off, the lure diameter. Is it a flat diameter? Is it a larger diameter that's going to make more of an impact with the water? Also, the velocity, the speed in which you are flipping that bait. That has a lot to do with it. The mass, the tilt, angle, and of course, like I told you before, the density of the water. Now, what does this mean for you? So, without getting overly scientific, speed, mass, and trajectory is the most important factors when skipping the lure. Low trajectory with a good speed on a flatter lure is what's going to get you those under the dock type of cast that's going to flip back into those pockets 8 to 10 feet. And you want that, guys. Those fish, hello? Sorry about that, guys. The most important aspect of dock fishing is getting to those fish that are pressured a lot less. A lot of fishermen can't skip. So if you sit out there and spend 30 minutes a day, say after work, after school, and you master the skipping, you're going to become a better fisherman, and you're going to catch a lot more fish. I promise you that. One thing that you look for, guys, when you're skipping, typically the weight that most tend to use is between 1/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce. If you get too light, obviously it's more challenging with the bait caster, especially if you're not very, very good with the bait caster. And then when you get heavier, obviously there's a lot more mass there, and it doesn't want to skip. It wants to go, straight to the bottom, so to speak. But you also want to look at the type of lure you're using. You want it to have a flat surface, a smooth or a flat skipping surface, and your jig head oftentimes, you want to look at that as well. You'll see that jig heads that are meant for skipping oftentimes have a lot flatter surfaces, and they're specifically designed so that way when they do make impact with the water at that angle, that they have a tendency to continue on and skip a few more feet. All right, so I told you a little bit about the lure and what to look for when you're shopping for that perfect skipping lure. Now, the most essential thing that you could do is to make this adjustment on your tension knob. Now, hopefully by this time you've already watched my how to adjust your baitcaster video. If you haven't, I'll link it both in the description and take a look above. I'll link it up there as well. But it's crucial that whatever lure that you're using, that when you open or release the lure, that it falls or descends to the ground without getting a bird's nest. That's one of the most important, most crucial tips that I could give you. So, and I've showed you this before, but if your settings are not proper and properly made for your skipping, you're going to just have a nightmare of a situation, because you're going to get a bunch of bird's nests, and then fishing becomes no fun, I promise you. All right, so there it is, guys. We've made our adjustment, crucial adjustment to skipping. Now what you got to do is practice. That's the fun part. Let's go. So what I like to do, guys, is I like to keep my rod in this position here, and I'm right-handed. I take my left hand and I grab the butt of the rod, and I like to roll it. It's just a habit for me, and what it does is it allows me to build up momentum, load the rod, and then slingshot the bait in that low trajectory that's crucial for getting or maintaining your skip. So just practice this. You'll see that it sometimes, depending on how close you get it to the water, you'll get a bunch of small skips. If I'm up higher, then I may get only 1 or 2 skips. But the idea is to be able to skip this baby back 5 to 8 feet is typically all that you need. So you want to have good momentum, good power, and get those skips. A good skip. And a lot of what's going to happen, different lures are going to skip better than others, and vice versa. So you're going to have some lures that just are not designed for it, they're not good for it, and you will see the difference in a lure that's designed for skipping and a lure that's not. But you see that I'm not really overpowering the cast, guys. I'm letting the rod, do the work for the most part. I'm not being super aggressive, I'm not casting too hard, and I'm keeping it nice and low. But if you just practice this motion right here, when you get on the water, that's going to be super easy. And that's a good skip right there that you just saw. And what happened, it's hard for me to do it like that every time, because I have the weeds up here and they're grabbing my lure right off the get-go. But the lower I could get to that water at the very beginning of the cast, you're going to see a lot better skips and a lot more jumps, and it's going to go further back underneath the cover. So those are the tips that I could give you guys on how to skip a lure using a baitcaster. It's really not hard, guys. It's more about practicing and just getting familiar with the baitcaster and the types of lures it is. And you get out in the yard, you can even practice this out in the yard. Use a 1/4 ounce weight, make your adjustments, get out and give it a shot, and see if that helps. I hope you enjoyed today's episode on how to skip a lure using a baitcaster. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and make sure you hit that little notification bell so that way you can see all of our great new content that we got coming. And guys, I hope you were able to find the hidden object. If you were and you were the first one to guess it, put your name, or PM me your name, full name, and your address. We're going to get that gift out to you in the mail. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Until next time, I'll see you on the water.